General is 7 a.m. It's now time for the Morning Watch. Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you're overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541, or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, the impact of Trump's policies on Caribbean regional stability. And in the second watch, cultural mysticism versus biblical teachings. For our social media question, we ask, what are your thoughts on the possible impact of the Trump administration's policies on the Caribbean? We're asking you to share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's our quote.
All right, good morning. Today's I quote says, "There's only one way you're going to die."
Okay. Good morning, Jukal.
Good morning.
Yeah.
These I quotes always concern me.
My lips are sealed.
Well, I guess the only way is if your heart stops. I guess in that regard, fine. Anywho,
The first watch will be back after this break.
The Church of God, Seventh-day 58 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13, presents its youth anniversary celebration and Praise Pulse Gospel Concert, Saturday, March 15, 2025, beginning at 9:30 a.m. Listen live on Love 101 FM at 4:30 p.m. as we will be on location to share this celebration with you. That's the Church of God, Seventh-day 58 Maxfield Avenue's youth anniversary celebration and Praise Pulse Gospel Concert, beginning at 9:30 a.m. Our anniversary, our legacy, the future. Join the movement. Listen live at 4:30 p.m. right here on Love 101 FM, the family station. In the Bible, God's compassion is described as new every morning and never failing. Compassion 24/7. Let's talk about its characteristics. The ultimate act of compassion, its pros and cons. Tuesday, March 11, on The Rock. Join guests Reverend Ralston Nemard and Pastor Luke Smith as they discuss the topic compassion. That's The Rock, Tuesday, March 11 at 10 a.m. here on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Toussaint. Now, whether directly or indirectly, the shock and awe implementation of President Trump's policies will have some impact on the Caribbean region. Now, it's been a few weeks. How has this been manifested so far, and what else can we expect? Well, to address these questions, we have online Pastor Everett Edwards of the Church of the Open Bible, Twickenham Park, and attorney at law Sean Bird, Managing Director of Grenville Radio Limited and founder of Concerned Christian Coalition for Healthy Society in Antigua. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Morning, yes, that's Mr. Bird. Pastor, Edwards, you with us? All right. Pastor Edwards? All right. I gather he's on, but we're not hearing him at all. Okay. In the meantime, welcome again to you, Sean Bird. Good to have you with us.
My pleasure.
Great. Now, what are your opening thoughts on the impact so far of President Trump's policies on the region?
I'm not sure that I understand how it has hit the region as yet. The only thing that has been of discussion is the deportation of illegal immigrants in the United States of America. And I think that because we saw the proximity to the United States and our relationship with the United States of America, it's sort of like a shock and awe that this would be happening. But if we're realistic about it, is that he's not in any way troubling those, despite all that they're saying, those that are legal. He's troubling those that are illegal, or those that have done criminal activities. He campaigned on that promise, and he's fulfilling that promise. I'm not sure of anything else as yet. Yes, I've heard about the sanctions. I think I read yesterday, Barbados, Trinidad, and Jamaica. And I'm not sure. And then there's a whole situation about the Cuban doctors and so on. I'm not sure as yet. Without, I don't have empirical evidence other than what is being said. So I'm waiting to see.
Yeah, and you mentioned he's dealing with the persons who are illegal. You're an attorney at law. Is there a difference between those who are regarded as undocumented versus illegal?
Not as far as I'm aware. How can you be in a place and be undocumented? I'm not sure how that one works. The fact is that we in the Caribbean, it's definitely a shock and awe to us, because many of our people from this region travel to the United States, many not really intending to stay, but overstaying and eventually stay for a longer time than originally anticipated. Then there is the whole idea of criminal activity, which many of our people who are being returned are of that ilk. Now, the truth of the matter is that I keep asking the question to individuals, how are they going to know that you're there illegal? Some people say to me, oh, they know. I said, well, how? Nobody has been able to explain that to me, unless you run afoul of the law, and that tripwire obviously triggers the rest of it in order for people to be returned to their native land. And I think that seems to be the one that is most on people's minds in the Caribbean. I'm not sure the rest of it is as yet, but we will wait and see. It's like the European Union and the Prime Minister of, I can't remember which European country, was saying that with President Trump coming to the forefront in the United States, he's disrupting the world order. Now, listen to those words. I've been on many shows. I have my own shows. I've been on many places. I'm saying Trump is going to be a disruption to the New World Order. In fact, it has been prophesied in his first term, when many were laughing at the prophets when they said, oh, y'all say he's going to have 2 terms. Well, now he's there into the second term, and there's the disruption of the New World Order. And that is where the whole thing is falling apart.
Interesting. Pastor Edwards, are you with us now? Oh, okay. We seem to have lost him. You mentioned the disrupting of the New World Order. At law, Sean Bird. Is that good or bad?
For me, it's good, and it should be good for every believer. Because what we had before was I mean, if people understand what the New World Order is about. For instance, you had Rockefeller Diaries, and Rockefeller did not apologize. He said in his memoirs that they say that we are responsible for a global world order. If that is the case, then I'm happy about it. And I'm paraphrasing the exact words with what he was saying. There is no doubt that there is a move by the United Nations through the World Health Organization, etc., to invade the sovereignty of many a country. There is no doubt that there was a move, for instance, to push the LGBTQ agenda and forcing we in the Caribbean to accept that as law. Otherwise, we won't get aid. So there are the different moves that was taken, and Trump has disrupted that. He has actually brought forth the whole issue of Christianity. Now, I've said to a lot of people who have been discussing it with me that, oh, Trump, they've been saying, oh, you said about Trump this and Trump that. I said, but look at what the man is doing. You may not, I'm saying you might not like the man himself, but understand the purpose for which he is sent. Unfortunately, many people do not understand to differentiate between purpose and the individual. For instance, Jehu was anointed for a purpose. Hazael, which was wicked as Hitler, was anointed for a purpose. And I think that Trump at this time has been elected to slow down the New World Order. Maybe not stop it, but definitely to slow down the New World Order and bring us back into alignment for what is taking place.
Are there any concerns in regards to import and export with the Caribbean and these policies?
Of course, there's going to be some kind of there's going to be some sort of concern. Of course, there is. We don't know what the Trump administration is going to come with at this present moment in time. My understanding is that they have slowed down, at least in the Eastern Caribbean, visas to the United States. So they're looking at the different policies. Let me say something here. Trump is very aware of the Caribbean. He has been in Antigua and Barbuda many years ago, where he was looking to do a project here in Antigua and Barbuda. He's aware of what the Caribbean represents. So it's not to say that he does not know the region. He knows the region.
And health. Any concerns there?
About what?
His policies affecting the health within the region and the health policies within the Caribbean.
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by affecting health. We mean with regards to what in particular? I'm not sure. His policy.
Let's see if we can zero on even the Cuban doctor.
That one. But you know, I would not be in favor of that, obviously. I think we in the Caribbean would not be in favor of that. But I'm always asking the question, whenever these guys make decisions, what is it that they know that we don't know? Right? A prime minister, a president, government officials, they don't make decisions based on just what they give the public a majority of the times. Not all the time, a majority of the times. There's always a backdoor situation that is taking place. So I'm wondering what exactly is it that was said or done that caused him to, because I'm not even sure how does that impact the United States of America. So why is it that he would be trying to force that policy? I don't know.
I get that Pastor Edwards is now on.
Yes, I am, sir.
Yeah, welcome to you.
Sir.
I'm not sure if you're able to hear the dialogue between myself and Sean Bird a while ago.
I wasn't.
Okay. Well, let me just ask you, we have about a minute before break, but your thoughts on the impact so far of President Trump's policies on the Caribbean?
Unsettling, in a word. I believe it will cause us, or it must cause us to rethink how we live within the Caribbean and as individual countries or territories within the U.S. Those would be my quick summary of the impact so far.
All right. We're actually up on a break now, so we're going to hear, why you drill down more in terms of that word unsettling, Pastor Edwards. All right? We'll be back.
Okay.
Do more on the board.
Discover a new and convenient way to send money abroad with the GK1 app. Download GK1 from the Google Play Store or Apple App Store to send with Western Union today.
The time by Grace Kennedy Remittance is
7:15.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Ready to experience 6 times more freshness in your clothes? Try Downy Scent Beads. Its fragrance is so amazing, you'll have to sniff it to believe it. Try Downy Scent Beads today. 6 times more freshness versus using detergent alone.
I pursue opportunities.
I prepare for opportunities.
I plan for opportunities.
With Sagicor e-Invest, you can prepare, plan for, and pursue IPO opportunities. Browse IPOs, review IPO details and prospectuses. Select and apply for a featured IPO. With Sagicor e-Invest. Think well. Visit sagicor.com.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And this is the first watch. We're looking at the impact of Trump's policies on Caribbean regional stability. And so do we have online Attorney at Law Sean Bird and Pastor Edwards. Before the break, Pastor Edwards, you used the word unsettling. What do you mean by that in regards to the impact of Trump's policies on the Caribbean?
Effort to streamline the USAID involvement in Jamaica. Yes, we from a Christian biblical perspective wouldn't have any issues with some of the decisions made as to what you're going to support and what you're not. It's your prerogative as a country. But the blunt force instrument is not always the recommended, because some of what USAID has done is good in a holistic sense for country, for education. When you say no, we're going to impose visa restrictions on government officials or persons who benefit from the Cuban healthcare support, that's a different matter, because we know the value of the optical care and medical care that the Cuban government has consistently for many decades supported in Jamaica. We hear Governor of Florida saying that he is going to impose restrictions on the sending back of remittances to the Caribbean. We know the value of those remittances to foreign exchange inflows and the support of families out here. They support a lot of home improvement and what have you in an individual sense, but the value is also felt in GDP. So those are going to have implications. I suspect that there are opportunities there too, but again, that is hope, because you might find there could be vacancies appearing in the American economy for the hotel work program or farm work program.
Employment generally.
Employment opportunities there. The idea of deporting persons back to country of origin is going to have, again, implications here for our people who've read stories by mistake. They reportedly have no connections to Jamaica.
Wow.
But then there are those who come and have no roots. They're genuine Jamaicans, but no roots, dislocations in family and what have you. Those are going to have other implications for we call it social cohesion. You come, you are out of place, nobody to relate to, nobody to identify with. So you become disconnected. If you can't remain disconnected for too long, you're going to become a burden on a community or on a country. If there are many cases like that, it is unsettling. And to my mind, the opportunities, yes, and one of them is for closer cooperation within the region and closer cooperation with people of like mind. The business of tariffs being imposed will have, again, implications in terms of where do we stop. We're not immune from it. We live in a very interconnected world.
Yeah.
So that's my take on the unsettling nature of some of the things that we see. Yes.
Yes. Sean Bird, you want to respond to what Pastor just said?
No, Pastor has some genuine concerns. I can see eye to eye with those concerns. But my position has always been is that you have a democratic president and you have a Republican president. You have to choose which one, pick your poison, pick which one that you would decide is going to influence the world, because the United States is a hegemonic nation. And what we tend to focus on, all of us, is always going to be the emotional response to everything. As a capitalist country, I cannot see the United States having a consistent pattern of disrupting their labor force. I'll give you an example. What happened in California when they tried to disrupt under Obama, I think, if I'm not mistaken. They tried to disrupt the Mexicans, etc., from coming over from fruit picking and stuff like that. They had to rescind that and bring it back. In any capitalist economy, you have to have a ready labor force, one. And there's always going to be that level of undocumented or illegal individuals who fill that second tier of the economy, that undocumented economy. That's all factored into any equation when it comes to any nation. The initial promises that Trump has made, he is looking to do it. But I'm going to watch over a period of time and see how far it goes. Yesterday, for instance, the Dow had a serious drop. And as a businessman, he knows how that is going to impact not just the United States, the Caribbean, and the global economies. So we're going to have to wait and see how this transpires. I take the point that because he's coming in like a bulldozer, that obviously there are going to be emotional responses, and we're not going to be happy with some of the things because of our relationship to the United States of America. But I'm going to take a wait and see approach. I don't agree with him, obviously, when it comes to the Cuban situation. I've not heard much about the remittances, so I don't know much about it. But we have to wait and see how it evens out. I like any political administration that first gets in, they want to prove that they have lived up to their promises. So the initial impact is always going to be to try and enforce what they have promised. But we'll wait and see.
Hearing you loud and clear. And there are persons though who are saying, you say wait and see. What do we do in the meantime, Pastor Edwards, while we wait and while we look to see what's going to happen? What can we do?
I think it's a good opportunity for us to diversify some of our relationships, build new friendships, strengthen some friendships that we have treated with less than energetic endeavor. I certainly think, and I know there's going to be the argument about the strong ties we have with the US.
Uh-huh.
But strong ties to the extent that we become wholly dependent on any one source, just like how we approach the tourism marketing. So I think we should be approaching our trade relationships and whatever else we can provide in economic competitive terms. I think there is the opportunity to broaden the waters upon which we cast our bread, rather than putting all the eggs in one basket. So there is also the political sphere, because the idea of uncertainty and tension and the basis upon which you can operate with any kind of certainty. So yeah, when we hear that we're coming to take, or we will take the Panama Canal if needs be by force, or we must get Greenland. Supposing somebody one day decides, wait, hold on, and all that bush down at Vernon Field is a good airstrip we could use. How do we respond to that kind of thing? You know, so yeah, the whole approach has been cause for concern, and I think it means that we, as a people, and I dare say the church, would do well to recognize that our help and peace and safety is not rooted in the political systems of this world, whether they are right-wing, liberal, democrat, communist, or whatever. They are man-made and very fickle at best.
Yeah. And as we wrap, Attorney at Law Sean Bird, what can and should we do in the Caribbean in the meantime?
I think in the meantime, what we need to do is that this will bring CARICOM to the forefront, and CARICOM must now reassess its position. Our agreements, trade agreements, are strengthening of ties, economic ties, and help us to look inward as to what needs to be done in order to make us more interdependent on it. But we can't get away from the fact that we're in America's backyard. China has a strong presence here. I'm sure all of that. I think most of what Trump is looking at is potentially, I feel, has a lot to do with China and China's strength in the Caribbean when the United States backed out and China filled that void. I think that is, they have an eye on that. I can tell you when it comes to Barbados and Antigua, the huge embassies and so on, and those don't look like ordinary embassies to me that they have built in this region. So there's a lot of geopolitical considerations that's taking place as well. And so stand by. This is about to get a little bit more rocky before we get onto smooth waters.
Although, Sean, but there are persons who are saying it's now a great opportunity for China to come and influence and impact the Caribbean. I'm not pro China. No, I'm not pro East at all. I'm pro United States, pro UK, pro West. No, I'm saying the argument is that this opening up the opportunity for China to now even come in more and influence the Caribbean. Well,
you see, remember, there's a trade war, there's a trade war that's building between the United States and China and United States. I know people talk about the treasury bonds that China, etc., has, but the United States is the strongest partner for China's goods. So at the same time, Trump is playing his hand with regards to that. This is going to get testy. It is new waters. And I look at it as a cultural war, a war that is not just based upon what we're seeing with our eyes. I really believe with all my heart, this has a lot to do with the new world order versus sovereignty.
We got to leave it there at that time. But as they say, we shall see what we shall see.
You certainly will.
Join us, gentlemen. Have a safe and productive day.
Okay, sir.
Listen, Good Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
The time by Gem Bank is
7:30.
the National Land Agency assists landowners to register their land on
experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety of items in store just for you. Buy your prescriptions while you shop. And senior citizens enjoy 10% off. Shop household, cosmetics, toys, and many other departments. We also offer curbside pickup and delivery. Visit our website at fontanapharmacy.com. Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
In the Bible, God's compassion is described as new every morning and never failing. Compassion 24/7. Let's talk about its characteristics. The ultimate act of compassion, its pros and cons. Tuesday, March 11, on The Rock. Join guests Reverend Ralston Lemon and Pastor Luke Smith as they discuss the topic compassion. That's The Rock, Tuesday, March 11 at 10 a.m. here on the family station, Love 101.
Tune in this Testimony Tuesday inside Alive, 1 to 5 p.m. on March 11 to tap into the transformative power of God's Word. At 1:45, we bring you the brain testing mental-size. Stick around at 2 o'clock for Prayer Blast, a powerful prayer experience with our Tuesday prayer partner, Deacon Dwayne Ferry. At 2:15 p.m. on The Evidence, we hear from Evangelist Barrington Spence from the Assembly of the Firstborn Church. Then at 3 p.m., get ready for another life-transforming journey as we go behind the pulpit with Pastor Lona Copeland. Stick and stay for more fun coming your way as Auntie Vashti wraps things up with the Small People Show. All this and more will come alive inside Alive at 1 to 5, March 11. So tune in to hear Dr. Nadine Blair, only on the family station, Love 101.
on the next Campus Connection.
It's the house. That's Campus Connection.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Well, coming up next, we'll share some of the feedback from our social media question. What are your thoughts on the possible impact of the Trump administration's policies on the Caribbean? Let me say that again. What are your thoughts on the possible impact of the Trump administration's policies on the Caribbean? We ask you to leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
On the next episode of The Mailbox, we will explore the topic managing pressures as a man. Mental health remains one of the most pressing challenges of our time. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 4 people globally will experience a mental health condition in their lifetime. In Jamaica, 3% of the population lives with a depressive disorder. Let's hear from guests, Reverend Dr. Courtney Faulkner, founder chairman of Talk About It Limited, and Dr. Paul Smith, clinical psychologist. The Mailbox is brought to you by Solid PVC Pipes, manufactured in Jamaica by Foxbridge Company Limited. That's Wednesday, March 12 at 5:30 p.m. only on the family station. Love 101, celebrating 32 years of sharing.
Saturday, March 15, 2025.
Calling from Love 101.
9:30 a.m. Listen live on Love 101 FM at 4:30 p.m. as we will be on location to share this celebration with you. That's the Church of God 7th Day 58 Maxfield Avenue's Youth Anniversary Celebration and Praise Pulse Gospel Concert beginning at 9:30 a.m. Our anniversary, our legacy, the future. Join the movement. Listen live at 4:30 p.m. right here on Love 101 FM, the family station.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Jokal for a look at how our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. What are your thoughts on the possible impact of the Trump administration's policies on the Caribbean? Jokal?
All right, so we have some responses here. We have 2 actually. First one comes to us from Cherry in Spanish Town. And Cherry said, let me just say what Cherry said. She said, what is happening with all those restrictions is to make the Caribbean become unsettled. But what will the USA gain with all this? In America or any country, we need others to help build our economy. That's the reality. Don't become too dependent that you cannot balance yourself or your economy. Then she says, we live in a world that we are not immune to the things that will be happening or how we will respond. This other person, their name is, not seeing their full name here, but they said, the impact of Trump's policies on the region includes Jamaica and employs Cuban nurses, doctors, and teachers. Now, if the sanctions are applied, there will be gaps or shortages in hospitals and schools. Why did we employ them in the first instance? How will we fill the gaps, or can we expect a crisis in these institutions?
Yeah, a mouthful there.
Yep.
All right, thanks to both persons for responding. As we segue into the second watch, Jamaicans have been known to dabble in what Christians and the Bible refer to as the occult or witchcraft. And some say it's part of our African heritage, but is there a real connection? And if so, are there things we should be aware and wary of? Can mysticism and Bible teachings coexist? Well, to discuss this matter, we have joining us in the second watch, Dr. Amina Blackwood Meeks, award-winning writer, actress, storyteller, and artistic director, as well as the Reverend Dr. Dave Goss, head of the Institute of Cultural Studies at the UWI. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, Reverend Dylan, Reverend Gus. Good morning.
Again. Meet again.
All right. Now, lady and the gentleman, the topic is about cultural mysticism versus biblical teachings. What is your understanding of what cultural mysticism really is about? Beginning with you, Dr. Blackwood Meeks.
I have no understanding of what cultural mysticism is. But I do have a feeling, and you know that's not true. We can always say what we think it means. But I do have a question. I do have a feeling. And the feeling is, and the question that haunts me, and I am deliberately using dopey language. The question that haunts me is, why is it that when my culture, Black people's culture, Black people's religion, Black people's beliefs and philosophies are discussed, they are discussed with words and implications that I should be afraid of? So I am to fear mysticism, and I am to fear the occult in the way I fear Anansi or fear John Canoe or any of those traditions. So that's something I want to bear in mind as we go through the discussion. Why is everything about me encapsulated in fear?
And hopefully we'll drill down into those concerns. Dr. Gus, cultural mysticism, what's your understanding of it?
Yes, I agree with Dr. Blackwood Meeks, here, because unfortunately, given our Christian heritage, the colonial state really have done a good job in demonizing anything African. Anything African demonized, and which is very unfortunate. Because a number of we talk about the new spirituals, we talk about a number of things that have been handed to us today comes out of that strong African culture. Even with survival, by the way. Our people coming here, being dragged here, have to find ways to cope. Right now, we as a Christian pastor, I might not necessarily subscribe to some of the actual teachings, right? But I am very appreciative and understanding of our culture and its impact, positive impact on our culture and our existence today. You think about all of things. Even our knowledge of herbal life and medicine and those kind of things, where do they come from? It's our people. So it has been demonized, and that's why the term mysticism, right? Which we saw that a very bad connotation.
It sounds bad to you? It sounds bad to you, Dr. Ross?
Yes, it is. If we're talking about Satanism, that's a different category, and I'm sure that's not what the art you're talking about.
Yes.
So things like Satanism and all those worship of Satan, different kind of ball game. But if it is referring to our African traditions in the past, that mysticism, it is what I would today call syncretism, where our ancestors have found ways to worship God in the different manifestations. And I've actually syncretized to some extent some Christian ideas along with the African traditions, creating genuine religions in the Caribbean today. Right? And also the Americans, where Black people are, is a similar thing. We have to find ways to cope. And we have people religious people. And that's really our gods. They might not be the gods that you and I subscribe to today. But we have to appreciate those gods. And by the way, some of the language that have come down to our culture today, for example, we give a quick one. For example, when in our church today, when you hear people talk about cut and clear, the phrase cut and clear. Cut and clear is a appeal of African to the African God to take away from them. It has come down in our Christian jargon today. Right? So we really have been done a bad job in terms of not understanding,
appreciating.
Stick up in stick up in here, right there, Dr. Gus. We want to hear more about this mysticism vis-a-vis syncretism and cutting and clearing. But we're up on a break, so let me just cut and clear out. We'll soon be back.
I'm Colonel Charles, the Minister of Labour and Social Security. The I Am Able initiative envisions a society in which every person, regardless of their physical or mental abilities, is recognized, respected, and provided with equal opportunities to thrive.
I Am Able, promoting equality, inclusion, and empowerment. For further information, contact the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities. A message from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, leaving no one behind.
Life is on the go. Check out the strength with the savage 1980s.
Right. Great. Dr. Blackwood, you with us?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay.
I like the cut and clear. Can I cut and clear in on that last comment? Because one of the things I think that need to be said is that the very phrasing assumes that there is no Christianity in my African background.
Right.
When the history of Christianity says the very opposite of that. We only have to look at the existence of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and that Bible to know that there is Christianity in my background, and it came to me in the so-called New World in tampered and many times altered ways. But Dr. Gus, why you go provoke me now to go ask if when Moses did part the Red Sea, if that was cutting and clearing? Because there is a way in which we have been trained to accept something in the Bible if it is in the Bible, but if we do it elsewhere, there is something wrong with it. So, for example, if I might give you a personal anecdote, in one of my one-woman shows, I wrote in the lighting of a stick of incense. And the director, who is my friend, said, unless me take out that scene with the stick of incense, he cannot direct the production. And I had to say to him, then what happens in churches that have communion, where them light the incense or where the dead is incensed? You know, so I think that that's part of the relearning that we have to do. When Moses, I'm gone back to Mr. Moses, sorry, Moses. When Moses struck the rock and brought forth water, what is that? The very fact that we go to the water to be baptized means that as Christians, we accept the power of the water. I'm thinking of so many Negro spirituals. Don't trouble the water. Is that mysticism? Is that religion? Is that spirituality? Do they not all come together? And I think, Dr. Goss, that's part of what you mean by syncretism.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And if you extend that point as well, even the song we sing in church, maybe by the river, someday. No, Christians sing the song, but I don't know if we understand what the fact that how those songs originated and the meaning of what those songs, right? Those songs come out about deep African culture, you know, where Africans in the Americas, right, understanding the power of water. That is the truth of water, the power of the mighty rivers. Because when we are in Jamaica, I like streams and tributaries. Mighty rivers.
Is that River Jordan is talking about?
Exactly right. So that's why you say it's well noted that for African modern, you have to have a reverence for the spiritual living in water. Right? And that have come out to us today, like in folklore and all that, right? But it's part of a deep African culture about the respect for crossing the water to get on the other side and the other side.
Well, I don't Dr. Goss. Oh, they're reading too much into that because isn't the meeting by the river about River Jordan, where John the Baptist was conducting baptisms?
Yeah, but yes. Well, and I think you know that when our ancestors read those passages, it reminded them, right, of the significance of water, right? Okay. And I'm being emphasized of crossing the water because in your culture, right, you have to depend on the nature gods, right, to try on the other side. Right. So it makes complete sense. That's what I'm saying. That's why because the colonial people demonize anything in Africa. Once you leave Africa or leave Africa at all, people get frightened and then start naming mysticism. Right? You know, we have to have a bit respect for our African people who try to coalesce their traditions with what they were learning and creating new things out of it, new meaning and significance. So the songs, that's why the expression was created.
Yeah. What should we do? First, I'm answering the question to you, Dr. Blackwood Mix. What should we do then with those things that are regarded as witchcraft and the occult? Obia. How should we deal with the syncretization of that with Christianity and the practices and beliefs of Christianity?
There we go again, placing them as oppositional.
Right.
But I think, Reverend Dylan, programs such as yours are extremely important. My understanding of what is regarded as mysticism is when people say they have become one with God. They've had this particularly sacred experience, and this is how it is expressed, whether it's by speaking in tongues or taking themselves off to the forest or to the lake or to the river. It's a way of experiencing their God. It's a sacred experience. But we have been taught that when we do these things, we fly in a God face. How you mean for flying a God face? When God himself and Jesus invite us, we are invited to explore in the way Jesus explored his oneness, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And so I think that a deeper, more extensive kind of education within the church and outside of the church is absolutely necessary and critical. What do these things mean? But the way we have been brought up to experience our spirituality, our Christianity, is that we go to church or we go to Sunday school and we listen to what somebody has to say and we take it away as gospel. It has to come from that person. But they don't balance that off by saying to us, you know what is the symbol of the curtain being ripped at the crucifixion? It means that you have direct access.
Right.
It means that how you understand and how you experience your oneness with God is valid and critical and important to the collective experience.
Agreeing with you, Dr. Mix. How do we deal with the Obia thing, for example? How
What
do we respond
what
to
is
that?
the Obia thing? What is
Obia
the Obia thing?
practices. Obia practice.
But I
Can,
don't know what you mean, because David struck the rock and bring forth water. That is,
Obia?
and when the fishermen,
You see Obia in that, Dr. Mix. That's what you're saying?
pardon me?
You
No,
see
I'm just
Obia in
asking.
the striker rock. I don't know. Tell me.
No, I'm asking you, what is Obia? Because I could look, okay, if we're saying that Obia is all of these let's try to call it all of these demonic practices that people
Witchcraft.
interfere with the spirit world and so on and so forth. We have been told through the Bible that God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. And God is not the only spirit. Not the only spirit. So if we're talking about Obia as interfering with the spirit, where do we make a distinction between worshiping that spirit and other spirits? We see in the Bible, Jesus had chased out demons. And so, because we referenced Moses earlier, that's why I went back to him strike the rock and bring forth water. Would we classify that as Obia? Or when was it leprosy that he had? I don't remember now. But him putting black hand inside of his garment and it came out white. Would we classify that as Obia? When Queen, the Kumina queen, disappeared from her family for 3 weeks and came back speaking a language that nobody around her knew. And when Mr. Siaga now sent what Queenie was speaking to be carbon dated, and the people in Africa said, this is the language that we speak. And he brought the Kikongo chief to meet Queenie, and the two of them had a conversation as documented in the Jamaica Journal by Laura Tanner. The two of them had a conversation as if they grew up next door as neighbors. Is that Obia? Where do we
Let me cut you there.
memories in the DNA, the memories in the DNA to which Dr. Goss alluded earlier?
Yeah, let me cut you there, Dr. Meeks. Dr. Gus, about 1 minute really. Is there no line though? Is there no line of demarcation? Should we just say that these are all spiritual encounters?
Well, just to be clear, what you are going to find out that what the colonial people did now, that anything that the Africans did was deemed as Obia. One is because they didn't understand it. And that's how that has come out to us today. But we must remember that in the African culture, what is called the Obi man was a real healer, a medicine man, right? So that alone itself has its connotations. And what I can say that as a Christian, we have Jesus as our Savior. We have the Holy Spirit as our comforter. So we are quite okay, and with what we have.
So we need not go to the Obia man. We need not go to the Obia man or woman.
Well, like, in a sense, that for example, if you don't know who they are, so that
depends on that. What do you mean?
There are some people who are genuine healers.
But why you don't want him to say that they are healers?
Because by God, I don't think that we have to fall upon, because we don't need that. That we Jesus, you are the Holy Spirit, right? But there are genuine people out here who are genuine healers, who are still what we call the Obi man.
Okay.
African healers. I must respect that.
All right.
Right? I respect that.
All right. Yeah. Good. That's all clear now. We won't cut. We're just clear it. We're clear it. You're all clear now. Thank you so very much.
Bless you.
Great.
Thank you for the opportunity. More good.
You too. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we continue to set the stage for a discussion of topical and controversial issues. For information to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-95967. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and our guest, I'm Daniel Toussaint, returning you to Love in the Morning with Jokal Dyer.
Administrator